Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is October the 17th, 2024. Hopefully this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. I will say, the peak is continuing. We are rising. Today was pretty good though. Overall, we got through it. I had to go to like a annual I think this was like supposed to be for like harassment and workplace blah blah blah. But we do these like things annually. You just have to like hang out for a meeting for like 15, 20 minutes, depending on. But yeah, so I just did that, and that was kind of nice. Also, I had a really nice conversation with one of my leads that was pertaining to just the influx of work, which was really nice. Like, it was nice that he asked me some questions, and it's like, hey, this might easily just be some lip service, but at least it shows that, hey, these guys are, once again, kind of what I had said in a previous episode, there's an awareness, and I like that there's an awareness that we do not want to get overwhelmed, and if being overwhelmed is inevitable, how do we get through it? And I was like, okay, I'm here for this conversation. I was like, this is good. You're gonna get the best out of me if we have more kind of conversations like this, more dialogue. So it was good. It was a good talk. Overall, a good day. My neck hurts post gym, which is kind of annoying. Trying to get that thick neck at any cost, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, no, today was solid. Let's see, food corner. I gotta say, it was just an apple, a green apple, which is my favorite apple. But yeah, I just really wasn't trying to eat that much. We were pretty edge to edge with the day, and I was just like, yeah, this is with having the whole, meal from work. Also I wanted to mention, the empanada was also good. And I asked other people and they liked the meal. So maybe I'm being out of pocket. I don't know. It just didn't feel like, it felt like the authenticity attempt was there. It just really wasn't the best. It just wasn't that great, But yeah, I would definitely say that the taco was good and the empanada was good. Just want to say that there. I got a ground beef one, which arguably I should have gotten the chicken one, but like I had already gotten a chicken stew thing with bones in it, so I was like, no, I'm good. I just wanted what I wanted there. So, maybe I was being too harsh on the meal, but I am going to keep my rating and my thoughts on the meal, what they were. Let's see here. Was there anything else I wanted to gab about? No, I'm going to try to keep it shorter today. We're going to try to have a shorter episode, not a 45-minute wada wada wada, that was me. That was on me, But hey, I gotta try to stop apologizing so much. Sometimes I feel like it's definitely warranted. I actually got to get into a corrections corner after the startup, but I don't need to say sorry all the time. I know that's a bad flaw for me. I just, I'm like, oh, it's my bad. Oh, what's the oopsie? But it's okay. It's all right. It's all right, man. All right, sorry. No, I'm not sorry. Startup time. All right. Correction number one. We did an update about the Kentucky judge and the sheriff that shot him, which was Sheriff Mickey Steins, and then Judge Kevin Mullins. It turns out, the information I got from the Daily Mail might or probably is bunk. Tends to be that way. So I really don't like fucking with them, but sometimes, and it's hot and ready, it's there. But I was listening to last pod, and they're like, yeah, no, we heard the angle about him texting or calling the phone, and then like it was on the judge's phone, like that's not a real thing. So it's like, okay, got that wrong. Oops a daisy. Like, this is where I say, oops, that's my bad. I'm sorry. But also, Tomato Town for Daily Mail, because they be fucking up and I be reading it and doing that. It happens though, you know. And also, shit, if last podcast has their issue of corrections, I don't feel so bad. That's a rare company, if I do say so myself. Now, this was just a bungle. The next one, I just fucked up. I just said a thing, and I thought I was correct in saying said thing, but it turns out I just, like, got it wrong. So, with Virginia McCullough, there was no dry ice involved. I don't know why. Like, once again, I don't know why I said that. I think I read the word breeze blocks and blankets, and I said, oh yeah, dry ice. Because I'm dumb. I'm just a dumbass sometimes. Don't say more than sometimes. But yeah, it turns out, though, it was very grim. Like, and also I did find out, too, once again, thank you, last podcast, Side Stories, hell yeah, that, the reason why the methods were different for the father and the mother, for John and Lewis, was because the initial plan was to poison both of them slowly. And like that was going to, you know, kind of play itself out, and then she was going to take the money and do what she wanted to do. And Lois, sorry, I'm getting names wrong already, but Lois was like getting hip to it, so she's like, okay, I gotta move, and so she stabby wabbies her, and you know, bloodens her, yada yada yada, does that, wraps them both up, bricks them up in like a mausoleum style tomb, and that's that. And then essentially goes throughout COVID, you know, some years go by, and eventually, you know, the cops finally come, and you know, she's like, yeah, you know, I knew you'd come. Anyway. So there you go. Some corrections, you know. Once again, that's where I definitely want to say my bad. But, you know, that's why you do it. You know, I know I'm not an official thing, you know, but I try to do my best to get things right. So, and also, if you ever notice something that's wrong, feel free to hit me up. I know, hey, every once in a while I can be a little defensive, but I really do appreciate it. I do want this to be, you know, almost a group effort. Nah, you know, but like just a project, if you will. Like, I like having this be an open thing. I love when you guys interact with me, comment, and hit me up about news and stuff like that. It really does make my freaking day. So I just want to say that before we get into the main articles for the episode. From ABC News, Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar killed in Gaza by Israeli forces, officials say. Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar was killed by Israeli forces in the Gaza Strip. Israel Foreign Minister Israel Katz, that's kind of a mouthful, said Thursday. Sinwar has been credited as the mastermind behind the October 7th, 2023 attack on Israel that led to the deaths of 1,200 people, the worst terrorist attack in Israel history. They're like, it's the second Holocaust. It's like 15 9/11s. Which I don't know how that math works. I just don't know how that math works. I don't know how to add a 9/11s. You know, that it's a weird metric. I don't really want to even do it by like 9/11. And I'm an American. I use feet and inches and shit. I like it being a little weird, but I just, once again, measuring by 9/11s is very weird. But we've talked about why they do that and yada 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 before, so I don't want to get too in the weeds. Sinwar, 62, had served as Hamas's leader in Gaza since 2017 and assumed leadership of the group's political bureau after the assassination of Ismail Haniyeh in Iran this July, also by Israel. Even though they did not confirm that, we all know. Let's see. I kind of want to skip ahead here to like kind of how it happened, because it was almost like happenstance in a way. The killing of Sinwar happened by chance, according to an official with knowledge of the operation. A unit of reserve combat soldiers in Rafah, attempting to blow up a missile that had failed to explode, fired upon a group of 4 men, according to the official. They also fired upon a 5th man who was throwing grenades out of the window of a nearby building at the soldiers, according to the official. The soldiers directed tank fire and a missile at the building. Though the man was still alive, the official said. A sniper in the unit then fired upon him, the official said. The IDF on Thursday released drone footage, they said, shows Sinwar in the building, wounded in the shooting. Now, when I initially heard this, I was like, did they get him? Did they really get him? And I thought about it and then like proceeded to kind of look and kind of peruse through some articles, and it kind of just clicked for me, and I'm like, this is Sinwar. And not to mention, they have this guy's DNA, which I read, and I was like, oh yeah, because he was in prison before and they did a whole swap and that's how he got out, some historical stuff. But essentially, they know this guy. They know this guy's face. Like, once I've made this reference before, like, if they had once again, to 9/11, the Terrorist 52 deck that, like, we had in America because we're some sick fucks, and we just was like, yeah, it's a cool thing. We can just sell that to people. Cool merch. If they had that shit, Sinwar would be like the Ace of Spades, like some shit, I don't know, whatever big card. That is like the one guy they definitely wanted to get. And so getting him is quote unquote an achievement for them. It's something that they can say, hey, woo, we can rattle this head and say, yes, we got this guy. We did it. Revenge, mission complete. And that's kind of how they're acting. But at the same time, I think everybody knows that this isn't changing anything, because the conversation then instantly goes, see, well, now we did that. That's great. And they're going to give us all the remaining hostages back. Yeah, of course. That's not going to happen. We know that's not going to happen. You can look at what happened with Hezbollah, where they literally took out a whole big chunk, including the top guy. And it's like Hezbollah is still fighting. And they know that was what was going to happen. At the end of the day, this is just, once again, a head that you can mount, and you can say, hey, look at what we did. Look at the accomplishments. We didn't go in there and get nothing. The people that we died, the soldiers that we died, your children that we sent out, it wasn't for nothing. Here we go. Israel is more secure now, even though it's not, even though it is definitely fucking not. So this doesn't change anything, So it becomes very frustrating that you're going to parade this around like anything is changing or happening, when meanwhile, this genocide is still just going to fucking continue. You know what I mean? You're still just doing this, the shit on a daily fucking basis. So, I did want to talk about this because it definitely felt relevant, and I just, once again, I kind of knew that they wouldn't make a big spectacle about this if it wasn't him. So I might as well just go ahead and just kind of get it covered. Just go ahead and talk about it. You know what I mean? So yeah, now let's move on to another one. This one's rough. And I will say here, for the next couple of articles, got to give shout outs to TrueAnon. This was a non-Patreon episode too, so you can actually check this one out. I highly suggest it if you're any way, shape, or form interested in the Kanye West debacles, debauchery. If you are interested in P. Diddy, a.k.a. The Diddler, a.k.a. Brother Love, fucking all kinds of fucking names, Sean Combs. Like, yeah, man. They do a good ass fucking episode that put me onto this. I had heard rumblings about it, and I wasn't like sure if I was gonna cover it, what was exactly in there. Do I want to know the details? And like, they broke the shit down, and I was like, boop, 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 we're covering it. We're talking about it. And then also the next story is also from, I picked up from TrueAnon. So just wanted to give my plugs and credit where it's due. But yeah, this article, I gotta get myself ready. This one's, yuck, it's icky. From Yahoo Entertainment. New lawsuit claims West drugged and assaulted ex-assistant during Combs' studio session. What we know. Kanye West, now known as Ye, is facing new allegations from his former assistant, Lauren Pisciata, who previously sued him in June for sexual harassment and wrongful termination. In an amended complaint filed on October 8th and obtained by multiple outlets, Pisciata, who worked for West in 2021 to 2022, claims that the rapper drugged and sexually assaulted her during a studio session co-hosted by Sean Diddy Combs. Combs, who's facing separate sex trafficking and racketeering charges, is named in Pisciata's complaint, but is not accused of wrongdoing in her case. Which hopefully I can kind of get to why I think that there's a reason for that, and it's just because of the series of events that unfold. But it is important to note that this man was also in the room with West. They were together. They were hanging out. They were apparently. I can't tell if this was exactly a studio session or like a studio kind of party thing. I'm not 100% sure, but West's representatives have not responded to Yahoo's entertainment request for comment. Let's see here. Let's see the latest allegations. Also, I gotta say, what the fuck? Yahoo Entertainment, they put for like kind of like their little headlines, like I said, the latest allegations. But there's like eye emojis, and I'm like, what are we doing here? I know there was a new update, but this feels a little too much. I don't know. This is like a very serious thing. Got eye emojis and shit. I can't talk. I know I'd be putting emojis in my bios and shit, and like people be living and dying. But anyway. According to the amended lawsuit filed in Los Angeles, Pisciata alleges that she and her former artist management client, who's unnamed in the lawsuit, were invited to a studio session hosted by West and Combs in Santa Monica, California. Now, normally I don't say the person's name if they're not mentioned, but in this situation, already from TrueAnon, I know the person's name. Also, if you Googled it, because I was just like, let me find just to like double check. And it's like, oh yeah, you can literally find and trace the dots that like Pisciata managed Nikki Heaton. So Nikki Heaton had a bit of a career, kind of fizzled out, but her story is important. Like, she was at this party and was also a victim here. I think she says by both West and Diddy, but essentially like before things get super duper crazy, she's able to pretty much escape, get out of there, get out of the situation. But at the same time, it's just super fucked up because apparently there was a rule that everyone had to have a drink. I guess I can just kind of want to read it. Yeah, even though this is very icky and fucked. The complaint does not specify when exactly this alleged gathering took place. During the session, Pisciata alleges that drinks were served to her and others in attendance, and it was announced that everybody had to drink if they wanted to stay, which is a crazy stipulation, but you can hear clips where like Diddy talks about how like his parties and shit work, like just a little bit, just giving you snippets to like these talk show hosts, which just feel really gross and grim. But it's like everyone's kind of laughing it off, like, you're so crazy, Diddy. But it's like, yeah, like we keep the heat up, and it's like, why do you do that? It's like, because it makes people comfortable, but it also makes them so like, they don't want to have clothes on. And it's like, what? And it's like, yeah, sometimes we got locked doors. It's like, what? Like, what are you saying, huh? And it's like, oh, just like a little kinky stuff, you just a little part. Like, no, dude. Like, and he's saying this shit to, once again, a talk show host, a live audience, and people are like, dude, he's so crazy. Wow, it's like that. Take that. Bad boy for life, I guess. But that's like unhinged. Like that's crazy to just say that shit out loud and be like, hey, yeah, it's just me. That's how I live. I've also heard other clips where like people will play back like things that Diddy have said, and then like Diddy will be like, oh man, yeah, I guess I was just on one that night. I was just saying everything, huh? It's like, dude, you were saying some very incriminating things. Anyway, this really, Diddy isn't so much the focus, but once again, I do feel like it is important to mention that Diddy is in the room. Because once again, everyone had to have these drinks. Now back to Pisciata, who has like, I think she says is like two sips, and essentially is acting or winds up being way too inebriated for that amount. And then more or less, from what I've kind of gathered, she doesn't have any real recollection or big recollection, at least in the moment, of what happened that night. But Nikki Heaton does. And essentially she says what happens to her, and then she can kind of surmise it, like what happened to Lauren. But at the end of the day, they kind of had a falling out, and it seemed like Pisciata was kind of really embarrassed because it's like, hey, I got way too fucked up somehow, and then, maybe embarrassed myself because, things wind up happening. And then, I don't want to make things worse. So, I kind of got in the weeds here. Let me actually get back to the reading. Upon drinking, Pisciata alleges in the complaint that she suddenly started to feel disoriented and felt less in control of her body and speech. She woke up the next morning with little recollection of what happened, feeling physically ill and confused. Yeah, I was trying to get to the part of Kanye West's involvement here, because at the end of the day, she really didn't know what was happening, like what happened to her that night. But then there's a conversation between her and Ye, and it's like Ye kind of reveals like, hey, we actually did kind of hook up. And it's crazy too, because I pull up the other half of the conversation on how they get here. Because essentially, Ye is like, hey, my wife's mad at you. And you can surmise that it's like, oh, because this is like kind of through depositions and stuff like that. And like, I think there's things that are redacted. But essentially, it's like Kim Kardashian's mad. That's what he's saying. And she's like, and Lauren Pisciata is like, oh, well, let me clear the air. Like, I would never want to do anything to disrespect her, you, or anything like that. And to be clear, I think maybe some people can think that there was some kind of romantic relationship here or anything like that. And it's like, no, at the end of the day, she was hired on, and she says she was hired on for $1 million, and at one point gets a bonus of $3 million. That's what she's supposed to get. Does not get that. This is a person who is a very successful person. She's an OnlyFans model who had made $1 million. I mean, at least that's what is stated, and I'm sure you can go and check her fucking statements if you want to, you know what I mean? Just like you can check fucking Donald Trump or what have you. But essentially, she's made a lot of money. She doesn't need to do this job, but it's like, hey, this is a good potential job opportunity. But you have to be at Kanye West's beck and fucking call. And essentially, he's trying to do all this fucking freaky shit all the fucking time. He says the craziest fucking things to her. He's sending her the craziest things like, hey, you're hanging out with your friend? Put your friend on the phone. Friend gets on the phone. He's fucking somebody. He's fucking some model or something. And it's like, what is this? Like, this is crazy. Like, it is insane. But essentially, at some point, he goes, hey, you got to stop being an OnlyFans model. I know I like that shit. I was telling all my friends and shit that I got a freaky, cool assistant. She's super hot. But, like, I'm like a man of God. I'm running for president. So, like, you got to cut this shit out. You need to cut it. You got to cut it. And I'll give you an extra $1 million to do that, which she says she never received. So it's like, you can already see where this is going for. I think, yeah, she's going for $4 million. So essentially, it's the $3 million bonus that she did not get. It is the extra $1 million. She has the text messages to kind of have, like, back up these conversations. So once again, kind of mentioning those text messages, that's also why I think that Diddy isn't implicated criminally in this, or isn't, in this civil lawsuit in terms of like a defendant or whatever, because they don't necessarily have that. You only have Nikki Heaton's recollection, and she doesn't really know what happened. And like I said, I think she got out of there, if I'm not mistaken. So at the end of the day, he's in the room. Maybe he did also potentially assault her as well. But you do have Kanye saying, yeah, we did kind of hook up. And you have to kind of surmise that's probably from that night. And it's like, she was not into you, dude. There's so many situations where it's like you were actively trying to make this shit happen, practically forcing it. And she's like, no, fuck off, no. There's also situations where after she is like, okay, I got to get out of this, and more or less winds up getting fired, he then stalks her, winds up, like in the same apartment as her, like living there, and like keep trying to date, keep trying to have sex. I also have to add at some point here, allegedly. This is all alleged. But, I mean, yeah, dude, this is some freaky ass shit, dude. It's fucked up. It's also crazy that I have to mention Diddy once again in 2 back-to-back episodes. 2 different situations. And this is kind of what I was talking about with the Diddy shit. It is going to almost be an endless font of fucking debauchery, of bullshit. Because he really is on some Black Epstein shit. So here we are. Like, he's also complaining about the food in prison. Oh, it's so bad. I'm losing so much weight. Yeah, it's crazy shit. Something else I wanted to add, I kind of just have gone to riff mode here. But there was another part here. Yeah, they do go into... Oh, I will read my actually highlighted portion. She's now suing for sexual harassment, breach of contract, wrongful termination, and creating a hostile work environment, seeking at least $4 million in damages. Oh my God. Actually, no, let me read at least one quote. I wanted to leave this shit because it's just giving me the ick. And like, ugh, like, you thought the anti Semitism was bad. Here's a quote, though, that he sent to her. See, my problem is my problem is I be wanting to fuck, but then after I fuck, I want a girl to tell me how hard they've been fucked while I'm fucking them. Then I want her to cheat on me. One of the reported messages read. He says also even crazier shit than that. Like, there's just so many crazy, random, wild things that he's just saying to a person who's supposed to be working under him. And this is also something that the environment, the hostile work environment is like a real thing, because this has been something that's like cataloged, like even to the point where he's got Adidas executives in the room watching porn. Like, he's making them do that. Like, he likes that shit for some reason. On top of, like, being very anti-Semitic. Like, forcing someone to literally, like, one of, like, these designers or whatever. He's like, hey, draw a swastika for me. And dude's like, I don't want to do that. He's like, do it. Do it. Do it. And he just, like, essentially forces, bullies, coerces, whatever you want to, like, this is the thing, like, this is an unhealthy, hostile work environment. Shit, you know, I'm learning about that shit at work in the meeting, you know what I mean? Like, essentially, Kanye West harassed his workers in so many ways, so many flavors, sadly, and that's not okay. Tisk, tisk, tisk. You see me rubbing my fingers like a praying mantis of sorts. Okay, let me get to the other part of this, and then we can move on to our last thing. It is kind of alleged, somewhat, once again, that Kanye West and his wife, I want to put that in quotations, wife, I mean, hey, look, if you want to be married and you don't have to have a paper thing, by all means, as a divorcee, I get it, dude. If you want to get boho with it, but like, I don't know, man. Feels like you want to have like a boneless wife. It feels like you want to have a boneless girlfriend or girlfriend plus. Like, I don't know, whatever. But essentially, there was this big rumor that got generated that they had broken up. They were on the mend. They were on the fence. And the reason was because Kanye West said that he wanted to have sex with Bianca Censori's mom. And I'm like, what is this? This is so page 6. I kind of don't give a shit. But then I started giving a shit because it then became alleged that it's like, no, they're actually fine. They're actually okay. I think they like wound up in Tokyo or some shit. And maybe, potentially, this was all generated by Kanye to kind of distract from this lawsuit. And I was like, oh shit, maybe so, but whatever. All of it kind of added up for me, and I was like, we need to talk about this. I gotta talk about this. And yeah, it's a fucking bummer, dude. Like, dude, it sucks, man. It really fucking sucks. I know I've said this before, but like, Kanye West was one of those artists that I grew up like, damn, you're amazing. You're awesome. I bought the Genius conversation. But like, Kanye West is the definite reason why. I'd say Kanye West and also Steve Jobs was maybe like the first time I really said, oh, people just like saying genius. They just want to call someone a genius because they like a thing that is made. That doesn't mean a person is, you can be talented, you can be smart. There's plenty of words that you can use and smack on a magazine and say, but like, genius is sometimes just a hyperbole. It's just kind of not needed for X or Y person. Kanye West is not a fucking genius. He never has been. He makes some fun music, you know? Sometimes, yes, he's a problematic, but sometimes I go back to the classics. You know, I listen to a bit of that. But then I'm often reminded that, like, wildly, weirdly anti-Semitic he is. For what reasons? Mental health? Whatever. It doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, he also does other shit like this. And it's just like, once again, so for so long, people were like, once again, just like with Diddy, he's a genius. He's just cool. He's just like, it's all right. Like, it's fine. Like, you know, let him cook. Like, no, dude. This dude makes holy shitty fucking sweaters and shit. He's not talented. He's not that talented, okay? He's not a fashion fucking wunderkind. He's not a fucking genius. He just found some cool samples. I too like Kid Charlemagne by fucking Steely Dan. It doesn't make me a genius. It just is like a taste thing. Yeah, I too like Daft Punk. I also would love to have them on a song where I then make the worst music video ever. But like, hey man, like, you're not a genius, and it doesn't give you a fucking licensed to be the weirdest fucking freak. And freak is not the right word. Probably it's just terrible, dude. It's a bummer, dude. We're in the abyss. So let's just go ahead and turn this ship around. Let's take our last break, and we'll talk about an odd happening. Once again, this is a true and on thing that I picked up, but I found an article to match it from The Hill. But yeah, let's take our last break. I need it. But for real though, fuck Kanye West. Fuck yay, dude. Ooh. And the diddler. Fuck them both. Take that. Anyway. Pentagon confirms incursions of unauthorized drones over Air Force Base. The Pentagon has confirmed a number of unauthorized drone flights last year in restricted airspace over over a Virginia base that houses the nation's most advanced fighter jets. Wall Street Journal first reported that for 17 days in December, a fleet of unidentified aircraft flew over Langley Air Force Base, as well as over the area that includes the Navy SEAL Team 6 home base and Naval Station Norfolk, the world's largest naval port. So I was like, what? Like, we just got drones just buzzing around the Pentagon willy-nilly? Pentagon Deputy Press Secretary Sabrina Singh on Tuesday confirmed Langley did experience incursions of unauthorized unmanned aerial systems, or UAS, last year in December of 2023. She said the number of those unmanned aerial systems, or the UAS incursions, fluctuated on any given day, but didn't appear to exhibit any hostile intent. Apparently, if they don't have any kind of hostile intent, then they're not supposed to take them down. They did send up like jets to kind of inspect them, follow them, look at them. There was one situation, this wasn't connected to the December one, I guess, but they were able to track down like one guy, and he was like a Chinese spy, I think, maybe, of some sort. I probably should scroll ahead and find the part. Hold on, I'm sorry, I'm looking at a thing that has Disturbed 25th anniversary tour with 3 days grace and Seven Dust and Daughtry and nothing more. Wow, this is like very dad rock, and I'm just like, I'm just getting old. I don't like that. Now I'm dissociating. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. Let's get to this far. I found it. Authorities had no leads until January 6th, when a Chinese national, Feng Yangxi, got his drone stuck in a tree about 11 miles from the Langley base and outside a shipyard run by Huntington Ingalls Industries. The company builds nuclear submarines and the Navy's new aircraft carrier. A student at the University of Minnesota, she abandoned the drone, took an Amtrak train to Washington, D.C., and flew to Oakland, California the next day. The FBI investigated the drone and found he photographed Navy vessels and with some shots taken around midnight. Federal agents arrested Xi on January 18th as he was about to take a flight to China on a one-way ticket, though he told agents he was just a ship enthusiast. Hell yeah, man. We love a ship enthusiast. Of course. Just a casual, well-to-do ship enthusiast. Nothing to see here. Clickety click. No secrets to be found, of course. Investigators could not link him to the Chinese government, and he was charged with unlawfully taking photos of classified naval installations and was sentenced to 6 months in federal prison. Okay, not bad. Pretty light. But U.S. officials have still not figured out who flew the Langley drones. Obviously, that's probably like more important or whatever. But hey, like I said, we love some spycraft. At least some alleged spycraft. Can't prove it, beat the case, kind of, sort of, maybe, whatever. But like I said, that is what it is. Everybody spies. I keep saying that. That's a motto. I would definitely put that on a fucking shirt, dude. Everybody's at it. Eye emojis. It's spy versus spy out here. But yeah, I definitely thought that was interesting. A little bit of a secret, a little bit of like little drones in the air, man. Drones. I don't feel like I'm scared by drones. I just find them very like, I don't know. They're very cool. They are cool. I've never flown a drone. I feel like I would fly them very poorly and I'd break it, and I can't afford that. So yeah, but I think they're cool, but I also think that they are scary, just like the robot dogs, right? I think robot dogs are very cool, but once you mount a motherfucking gun on one, okay, now I'm scared. Now we're in a dystopian cyberpunk future that I don't want, and I'm not prepared for. But, like once again, it's just one gun mount away. And I'm just, okay, I don't like it here anymore. But hey, I think that's it. Yeah, that's the episode. A little kooky happening that we don't really have an answer for, but maybe I'll come back with one day, or maybe it's another correction. Who knows? But let's see here. Patreon.com/Isaiah News. If you would like to help out the effort, become a newsie today. Free ways to hit me up, isaiahnews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. Please subscribe to the YouTube and, hit the like, leave a nice comment. Let's see here. Also, you can do that on any other platform like Spotify or whatever listening thing you're on. But yeah, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.